Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Hi, everyone.
This time we are going to space again,
Of course, as
as
always.
always, right?
hmm
And we're going to be looking at all the exciting things you can spot in the night sky in October.
Yes.
So sort of a forward-looking
October skies.
October skies,
A
exactly.
tour.
A tour guide to the October
Yeah.
skies. And we're basing this on the UK Space Agency's blog post all about this.
Right.
So to kick things off, I think a good place to start is planets.
Okay.
Because they are always kind of they're easy to spot.
Yeah.
And
We're bright.
they're bright and people recognize them and get excited about them.
Yeah.
So Saturn, first of all, if you remember from last month's deep dive, we talked about how to find it in the sky. It's still there.
Yes.
In the southeast.
It's still hanging out in the evening sky.
In the evening sky.
Yeah.
So that's easy to find. And this month, in October, it's actually going to be near the moon on October 14th.
It will, yeah. Yeah, you'll be able to see them quite close together in the sky.
And that's always fun to see, right? When you can...
Yes, definitely. And the moon will be about 90% illuminated that night, so it will be quite a bright
Oh, wow.
a spectacle.
So it'll be easy to spot.
Yeah, yeah.
What about other planets?
Let's see. Jupiter is actually also going to be up in the sky in the northeast this month,
Okay.
and it will be near Aldebaran, which is the brightest star in the constellation Taurus.
Okay.
So those two will be
So how would people find
hanging out together.
Taurus in the sky?
So Taurus, I see how to describe that best. So if you can find the Pleiades star cluster, which is also actually up in that region of the sky.
Oh, right. Okay.
Jupiter will actually be trailing behind the Pleiades throughout the month of October.
Okay, great.
So you can watch how they progress across the sky.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
But Aldebaran is also very near the Pleiades, so you'll be able to find it that way.
Okay.
It's kind of in that same region.
Okay, great. So
Jupiter, Aldebaran,
yeah.
and the Pleiades.
Yes.
All very close together.
Relatively close.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of things, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the quick overview of those easily spottable planets.
Right.
And I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about the Pleiades because they're not just a star cluster.
They're not. They're special.
They're very special.
Yeah.
What's special about them?
Well, first of all, they're very young stars.
Okay.
They're only about 100 million years old, which cosmically speaking is very, very young.
Right, right.
And they are passing through a cloud of gas and dust,
Wow.
which they're actually illuminating.
So you can see that.
You can't see it with the naked eye, but with a larger telescope.
Okay.
Or if you take like a long exposure photograph,
Yeah.
you can actually see this nebula around the stars.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. Okay, so
Yeah, we've got planets, we've got a star cluster. What about galaxies? Anything interesting happening in the galaxy world?
yes. Well, we can't forget Andromeda, which is our closest galactic neighbor.
Yeah, Andromeda.
It's a large spiral galaxy, and it's actually much bigger than you might think.
Okay.
It actually spans about 6 full moons in our sky.
Wow, really? 6?
6 full moons, yeah. But
I had no idea.
we can only see the bright core with the naked eye.
Okay.
The rest of it is too faint. But it's just amazing to think about how massive it is, just right there.
Yeah, and it makes you feel very insignificant
It really does.
when you think about it.
It puts things into perspective, that's for sure.
It really does. So for people who want to try and spot Andromeda
Yeah.
this month, how would they go about doing that?
So one of the easiest ways is to find the constellation Cassiopeia,
Okay.
which is a pretty distinctive W shape in the sky. And Andromeda is located not too far from Cassiopeia. And then you can also use the constellation Perseus, which is in that same region of the sky, as a guide as well.
Yeah.
So if you can find Cassiopeia or Perseus, you're in the right neighborhood to look for Andromeda.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's Andromeda. Now, I did want to ask you about something else that's up in the sky this month, something a little bit different, and that is a comet.
Yes.
Because
Comet time.
comet time, right?
Yeah.
Always exciting.
So we have Comet C 2023-A3. It's also known as Tsuchinshan ATLAs, if you want to, impress your friends.
Which one should we go with?
I would go with C 2023-A3 because Tsuchinshan ATLAs is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
But it will be visible to the naked eye.
Okay.
In October.
Wow.
And this comet's actually pretty cool because it survived a close encounter with the sun.
Oh, wow.
earlier this year. So
been through it.
it's been through it, and it's still going.
It's a survivor.
It's still putting on a show for us. Yeah, it's a survivor.
So how are we going to see that in the sky in October?
So the best time to catch it is going to be from around the 16th to the 20th of October.
Okay.
And you'll want to look to the west after dark. And it should be near the bright star Arcturus.
Okay.
So again, we'll post some sky maps to help people find their way around.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you about meteor showers.
Yes, we've got...
Because October is a good month for that.
It is a good month for meteor showers. We've got two that are kind of the big ones this month. One is the Draconids, and they peak around October 8th and 9th.
Okay.
And then we have the Orionids, which peak on the 21st and 22nd of October.
Okay.
So
what's the difference?
So the Draconids, those fragments are traveling at about 13 miles per second.
Okay.
Which is actually quite slow.
For a meteor?
For a meteor, yeah, that's considered slow. And then the Orionids, those fragments are zipping along at about 40 miles per second.
Oh, wow. That's quite a difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Why the big difference?
Yeah. Well, they just come from different comets, which are traveling at different speeds. So the Draconids, those are fragments from Comet Giacobini-Zinner, and then the Orionids, those come from the debris left behind by Halley's Comet.
Okay. So it's all relative to whatever their parent body is doing.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So we've got all this stuff happening in the sky that we can see from,
from our backyards.
From our backyards. What about missions? What's happening in the world of space missions this month?
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of really cool missions that are either launching or are ongoing this month.
Okay.
So the European Space Agency has their HERA mission, which is actually a follow-up to NASA's DART mission.
Oh, right. Yeah, the one where they smashed
into a
spaceship into an asteroid.
Yes, an asteroid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so HERA is going to go and actually study the aftermath of that impact. So it's going to be a rendezvous with the asteroid, which is Dimorphos, and it's going to be looking at things like the size of the crater, what the composition of the asteroid is like, and just gathering all sorts of data about that impact.
To see if it actually worked, I guess.
To see if it worked, exactly.
That's amazing. So cool. And then the other mission, which I'm really excited about, you mentioned, is the Europa Clipper.
Yes.
And that's going to Jupiter's moon.
It is, yeah. Going to Jupiter's moon, Europa, which is a really interesting target, I guess, for space exploration at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it has this, we think, this vast, salty ocean beneath its icy surface.
Yeah, we always talk about Europa, right?
Yeah. It's a prime candidate for finding life.
Yeah. So what's Europa Clipper going to do?
So Europa Clipper is going to be studying Europa in a lot of detail.
Okay.
Trying to figure out, what is the composition of that ocean? How deep is it? Is there any, interaction between the ocean and the surface?
Wow. And how do you even begin to figure that out?
Right. That's the question.
Like if it's under ice?
So it has all these instruments, like ice penetrating radar. It can look through the ice to the ocean below. It has spectrometers, which can analyze the composition of the surface and maybe even any plumes. If there are any plumes erupting from the ocean, it can analyze the composition of those.
Okay.
And it has a magnetometer to study Europa's magnetic field, which can actually tell us a lot about the ocean as well.
Wow. So when's that launching?
That one is actually scheduled to launch this month.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to launch, and then it's going to take about 6 years to get to Jupiter.
Okay.
So we've got a bit of a wait.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a wait, but I'm sure it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
So much cool stuff going on this month. We've got the planets to spot. We've got the comet. We've got meteor showers. And like you said, we've got these really, really exciting missions happening as well.
Yeah, October is a good month.
It is. A really good month to get out there and do some stargazing. So I think that about wraps up this month's deep dive. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing all of this incredible information with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, as always. Happy to be here.
And thank you to everyone listening. Don't forget to check out the show notes for all the links to the UK Space Agency blog post and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.